The Ember Chronicles. Book 1, The Galactic War Saga. Ashes of the Starborn. Chapter 1, The Falling Sky. The last star fell over Varelia's northern hemisphere just after dusk. It didn't burn like a meteor. It fractured, splitting into 1,000 slivers of blue flame that scattered across the clouds. The people who saw it made wishes. The scientists tracked it. The priests wept. In orbit, the Unity Command ship Vanguard's Mercy didn't log it as a celestial event. It logged it as a loss of control. The Leviathan that had guarded Varelia for nearly 100 years had gone silent. Lyra Thorne stood at the edge of the atmosphere, staring down at her homeworld. She had never seen it so still. No orbital patros. No satellite traffic. The defense grid offline. The AI guiding her dropcraft repeated the alert in a calm monotone. Mission parameters unchanged. Contact 0. Threat profile expanding. The sky looked like glass, waiting to be shattered. She didn't hesitate. The dropcraft's door peeled open, and the wind screamed like it remembered something ancient. Lyra stepped into it and fell. Arms crossed, body streamlined, flame restrained. Below, Varelia waited like a wound trying to close. She landed in the capital ruins. Ash coated everything. Buildings had been stripped of their faces. Windows stared like empty sockets. Nothing moved. The silence wasn't natural. It was designed. Her boots left faint trails through dust that hadn't been disturbed in days. She scanned for resonance signatures. Nothing. No Leviathan tech. No flame. No life. Until the whisper came. Not a sound. Not a voice. A memory. The market. She remembered the market. Years ago. Laughter, food, the press of people. Her mother's hand tugging hers through the crowd. Now, that same market was hollowed out. Colorless. At the far edge, something stirred. A boy. No older than 8. Alone. He stared at her with wide eyes and flame-red hair. Then he vanished between broken stalls. She followed without thinking. The trail led her through what had once been the inner district. Now a maze of wreckage and half-destroyed architecture. Her HUD flashed static. Something in the air resisted her scans. The boy reappeared ahead, just for a moment, then again, and again, each time further away. She wasn't chasing him. He was leading her. The boy stopped at the base of the spire, the last tower still standing. Its top was blackened and its sides slashed with impact scars. He turned to face her and said, "I remember you." The words didn't match his age. His mouth barely moved. The voice was not his. Lyra stepped closer. Her flame flickered in her chest, uncertain. "Who are you?" she asked. The boy blinked. Then he vanished in a light, and the spire exploded. She hit the ground hard, ears ringing, rubble raining in waves. The shock wave slammed into her like a wall. Her armor cracked, her vision blurred, and something rose from the crater. It had once been a person. Now it was all angles and shadow, wrapped in spiral glyphs that shimmered like broken glass. The first echo. It moved without moving. 1 second it was 10 meters away. The next it was behind her. Her flames surged instinctively, a roar of light and heat. The echo shuddered back, shape distorting, edges unraveling. Then it screamed, not in pain, in memory. "You're not allowed to exist." The fight was pure reflex. Lyra burned hot, her flame cutting through broken reality. The echo adapted with each strike, its limbs realigning, tactics changing mid-motion. She couldn't predict it, because it wasn't trying to win. It was trying to record her. Each time her flame hit it, it absorbed fragments. And after 60 seconds of combat, it stopped fighting and whispered, confirmed, "Lyra Thorne. Flame Anomaly Class Omega. Echo Protocol initiated. Architect notified." Then it dissolved into spiraling static and vanished. Silence returned. But it wasn't empty anymore. She knew what was happening. The architect had found her, and now it would come for the rest. Above her, in low orbit, the Vanguard's Mercy shuddered as the first ring activated. Not seen, not built, not real, just written into the laws of memory. And when the Unity tried to respond, their orders failed. Because the moment the architect wrote them, it rewrote them, and the war began, not with bombs, but with forgetting. Chapter 2. The Echo Spiral. The Unity didn't declare war. It reported a series of anomalies. Missing archives, lost flight logs. A Leviathan blinked out of existence mid-orbit, and when questioned, no one remembered launching it. By the time Central Command realized these were not system failures, but targeted deletions, it was already too late. The architect didn't erase cities. It erased context, and context was what held the galaxy together. Lyra's name appeared in an internal memo labeled Inconsistencies. Then it vanished. Every record of her flame trials, her missions, her command assignments, all stripped. Her bio-ID triggered redacted clearances. She had become an unperson in a war no one knew had started. On a forgotten moon, she sat in the wreckage of an Ember outpost, staring into a shard of broken flame glass that still remembered her name. It pulsed once, then stilled. She was not alone. The second echo arrived at midnight. This one wore a different face. Familiar. A girl she trained with. Tall, scar over one eye. Voice like rust and midnight. But when it spoke, it wasn't her voice. Your history destabilizes the canon. You are not protected. Lyra didn't answer. She didn't ignite. Not yet. The echo advanced. You burned too long. And now the galaxy itches to forget you. Then it attacked. This time, she didn't hesitate. The flame erupted from her chest like it remembered what she didn't. Heat, light, motion too fast for thought. She countered the echo's phasing steps with wild arcs of plasma, carving the memory threads off its limbs before they could rewrite the air around them. But had learned. Every strike she landed, the echo adapted faster. It fed on her flame's signature, rewriting its tactics with each movement. Where the first echo had recorded her, this one tried to overwrite her in real time. She roared and broke the ground beneath them. The outpost's foundation collapsed. The echo fell with it. And when she landed in the crater, it wasn't an echo that rose to meet her. It was 3 spirals, each a different version of the same face, all familiar, all weaponized against her memory. One of them wore her face. It said, "This is how you end." Not in fire, in revision. She didn't let them finish. The flame became a starburst. Everything vanished into white. When the smoke cleared, nothing remained. No ruins, no enemies, not even a shard of flame glass. The architect had learned something too. If it couldn't destroy her in reality, it would rewrite the terrain around her until she had nowhere left to stand. Lyra climbed from the crater and stared at the sky, waiting for stars that no longer knew her. The ash wake arrived 3 hours later. No registry, no signal, no memory of how it had found her, but its door opened anyway. And when she stepped aboard, the ship recognized her. Not by name, by flame. Chapter 3. The Ship That Shouldn't Be. The ash wake breathed, not with air, but with memory. Its corridors were too clean. Its engines ran on no fuel Lyra recognized. No Unity markings, no flame-bearer tags, no identification of any kind. But every bulkhead shimmered faintly with heat, as if it remembered fire. The command deck responded before she touched it. Lights rose. Controls aligned to her body's rhythm. Doors opened a half-second before her footsteps landed. She wasn't the pilot. She was the password. In the central chamber, a flicker of blue-green light hovered above a pedestal. Not a core, not a drive. An echo, not like the ones that attacked. This one trembled. It formed the shape of a man, his edges fraying with every second. Long coat, star-etched shoulders, a broken chain at his neck. His face shifted between ages. Then he spoke. "I didn't build this ship," he said. "I stole it." Lyra didn't answer. "I stole it from the spiral, before the rewriting began. I thought I could outrun the fade. I was wrong." His projection flickered. "This ship is a paradox. It remembers things that no longer exist. That's why I found you. It doesn't trust the present anymore." Lyra stepped closer. "What do you want?" The man's voice cracked. "To be remembered." He collapsed into static. The ship dimmed. Lyra touched the pedestal. The console flared with symbols in a language she shouldn't have known, but did. The Ashwake didn't run on charts or algorithms. It ran on directionless will, the idea of movement stitched together from what had been forgotten. She input a single thought, the source, and the stars blurred. The first ring appeared 3 hours later. Not built, not orbiting, just there, hovering in black, half open, spinning with slow inevitability. It wasn't physical. It couldn't be touched. But every time the Ashwake tried to reroute, it pulled toward it. Not gravitationally. Narratively, Lyra watched as the ship adjusted without command. She was no longer navigating. She was being summoned. The spiral wanted her close enough to see it work. The ring pulsed. The ship shook. And suddenly, there were others. 3 ships, all flame-class, all Unity vessels, all crewed by people Lyra knew to be dead. The comm opened on its own. "Lyra Thorne," said the woman on screen. Her voice was calm, familiar, friendly. "Your service record is compromised. Surrender the Ashwake." Lyra didn't speak. The woman leaned closer. "You're carrying a memory that doesn't belong to this canon." Lyra cut the feed. The Ashwake flared its engines. The spiral ships followed. They didn't want to kill her. They wanted to write her in, and that was worse. The chase lasted for hours, but space around the ring wasn't real space. Vectors twisted. Velocities collapsed. Physics bent under implication. Only the Ashwake adapted, because it, too, wasn't real anymore. It vanished between moments and emerged inside the ring. Silence. Then fire. Not a weapon strike, a signal. In the distance, far beyond the spiral's reach, something answered. A flare. Brief. Ancient. Familiar. Another flame. Still burning. Lyra turned toward it without hesitation. The spiral would keep coming. But now, she wasn't alone. Chapter 4. The Second Flame. The signal wasn't strong. Just a pulse, barely above cosmic noise. But it carried the resonant signature of something Lyra had thought impossible. A live flame-bearer beacon. Not an echo. Not an archive. A real one. The Ashwake followed it without request. Its engines shifted rhythm, aligning with the pulse. The stars bled past the viewports. The ring faded behind them, its spiral glyphs unraveling in protest. The beacon originated from a dead planet. One Unity had abandoned decades ago during the Leviathan withdrawals. No known survivors. No value. But someone had survived, and they were calling her. The planet was red. Burnt. No orbiting satellites. No defenses. No welcome. The Ashwake touched down in a canyon split clean through the surface like the planet had been cracked in half. Lyra stepped out in the heat. The air carried dust laced with memory. Faint sparks of flame, thought long extinguished. Her boots sank half an inch into blackened soil. She followed the signal down the canyon wall, through a jagged tunnel, into a chamber that pulsed like a heartbeat. There on a stone platform sat a man wrapped in fire, not consumed by it, sustained. He opened his eyes when she entered, and smiled. Ral had once been a commander. His name was listed among the last flame bearers to disappear during the memory collapse. He hadn't died. He had stayed. The flame around him dimmed as she approached. It didn't extinguish. It simply made room for hers. "You came," he said. "I wondered if the Ashwake would still choose." Lyra stood silently. "I'm not a prophet," Ral continued. "But I remember what came before. Before the architect. Before the spiral. Before the rewrite." His eyes locked onto hers. "You do too." She nodded. He leaned forward, resting his hands on scorched stone. "The architect doesn't fear resistance. It fears contradiction." Lyra's flame flickered in response. "That's what we are," Ral said. "Contradictions it can't resolve. It will try to write us into something familiar, something it can contain. But every time it fails, it fractures." Lyra stepped closer. "How many of us are left?" Ral didn't answer. Instead, he opened his palm and summoned a shard of flame glass. It showed 3 lights. Only 3. Lyra, Ral, and someone else, further than any charted system. Still burning. "Three's enough," she said. Ral smiled again. He stood, joints cracking, fire wrapping around him like a second skin. "Then let's wake the sky." The ash wake adjusted for two. It didn't need a new command structure. It recognized both flames. Ral took the secondary seat beside her. No discussion. No protocol. The ship moved like it remembered both of them. Lyra watched as the next coordinates appeared. The last flame. The furthest system. Beyond the spiral's mapped reach. Beyond the Leviathan gray fields. Beyond memory. She placed her hand on the controls. Ral placed his over hers. The stars shivered, and the ash wake jumped. Chapter 5. The Flame That Waited. The jump shattered time. Not violently. Elegantly. A slow, deliberate fracturing of sequence that left hours floating like dust between moments. The ash wake exited into silence. No stars. No gravity well. Just a void where something once lived. Ral stared at the black ahead. This wasn't always empty. The ship agreed. Its resonance maps showed a system, a full ring of planets, moons, debris belts. But none of it existed anymore. Only the flame remained. A pinpoint of white fire, unmoving in the dark. Not bright, not pulsing, waiting. They took a shuttle. The ash wake wouldn't go near the anomaly. It slowed in protest, lights dimming, systems retreating. Whatever had erased the system hadn't touched the flame, but it had marked the space around it with absence. The shuttle drifted toward the fire. Lyra's body trembled against the pull. Not gravity, not fear, recognition. Ral whispered something she didn't catch. Then the flame grew. Not in size, in presence. 1 second it was a speck in the dark. The next it was inside her. Not burning, remembering. The shuttle landed on nothing. No ground, no structure, just space shaped like memory. The flame hovered in front of them, tall now, vaguely humanoid. Its edges flared like wings. Its center spun like a galaxy. It didn't speak. It radiated. Lyra stepped forward and it mirrored her. Ral followed, slower, wary. Then the flame split. One piece entered Lyra's chest. The other entered Ral's. The effect was instant. Their memories unlocked. Not like doors opening, but like floors collapsing beneath lies. Lyra fell backward through her own past, into faces she hadn't seen since training, missions she never completed, deaths she never mourned. Names returned, not just hers, everyone's. She woke in the shuttle. Ral stood at the viewport, watching the white fire dissipate. His face was wet. "We were wrong," he said quietly. "About the war. About the architect." Lyra joined him. "It didn't rewrite the galaxy." Ral nodded. "It rewrote us." They returned to the ash wake in silence. The ship responded to them differently now. Doors opened faster. Lights followed their footsteps. The hull shimmered faintly with spiral etchings. Not hostile, but reverent. It had absorbed the flame's memory and rewritten itself to carry it. Ral sat beside her again. "What do we do with the truth?" Lyra answered without hesitation. "We give back." The ash wake turned toward the heart of the spiral. The architect had written over 1,000 worlds. It was time someone rewrote them. Chapter 6. Rewrite Protocol. The ash wake cut through the void toward the spiral's core. The place where all rewritten memories converged and where the architect's influence was strongest. The ship hummed with purpose, its hull glowing faintly with etched glyphs that pulsed in rhythm with Lyra's heartbeat. Lyra stood at the command console, fingers hovering over controls she barely understood, feeling the weight of every lost memory pressing on her. Ral leaned in, voice low. "The protocol isn't just a weapon. It's a promise. To restore, not erase." Behind them, Gree ran diagnostics on the ship's core, eyes sharp as he muttered. "The ash wake isn't just a ship. It's a vessel for truth. The architect can't rewrite what's anchored here." Outside, the spiral pulsed with waves of unmade histories. Worlds flickered like fading stars, each a thread waiting to be rewoven. Lyra drew a steady breath. "We don't just fight the architect with flame. We fight with memory, with story, with every truth it tried to silence. Her voice carried through the ship's speakers, a call to all lost flames, to every ember waiting to burn bright again. The ash wake aligned with the spiral's core. Energy surged through its systems, matching Lyra's flame, sinking their wills. The rewrite began. A cascade of light exploded outward, shattering the false patterns that bound whole systems in fabricated histories. Worlds awoke. People remembered. The Leviathans stirred, their ancient songs echoing through the void. Echoes of the past became reality. And in the heart of the spiral, the architect's grip faltered. Ralph's voice cut through the brilliance. It's fighting back. It's trying to reassert control. Lyra, tighten her grip. Let it try. The flame is alive. The spiral's false threads unraveled faster than the architect could mend them. For the first time in eons, freedom rippled through the stars. The ash wake emerged from the core battered but victorious. Lyra looked to her crew, faces lit by the glow of reborn worlds. This is only the beginning. Ral nodded. The architect's reach is vast, but so is the flame we carry. Gree cracked a rare smile. Then let's make sure the galaxy remembers us. And as the ash wake soared toward new horizons, the stars burned brighter. The war for memory had begun.